Gods Unchained just announced a new expansion, and honestly guys, it is looking amazing. Today we're going to be going through all of the legendary cards that we have available. We're going to be seeing the new combos that this expansion brings to the table. Let's immediately dive in. 132 new cards, 2 new keywords, mythic variants. This expansion has everything. And it introduces a new mechanic called Dread Touched. Basically, this mechanic is similar to the empowered keyword that we have already in Gods Unchained, but instead of using extra mana to activate the extra ability, you have to sacrifice a creature on the board. This opens up a whole new way for combos and decks, and it's going to be amazing. The other keyword that we have, even though we don't know too much about it yet, is the Eldritch Mysteries, and these seem to be some kind of spells with different rarities. In my opinion, it is going to be something like the 12 mechanic, but we don't really know too much about that yet. But what we do know enough about are the legendary cards. The first legendary card that we have available is, guess who? Theriel. Can we have an expansion without him? Probably not. But this time he costs 8 mana and has a unique rare ability that says summon Lastric cultists until your board is full. And each of those cultists gains a random keyword between Bleach, Frontline and Ward. Based on what I have seen so far, those Lastric cultists are going to be 5/5 creatures. This is going to obviously be amazing in sealed, but in constructed play I don't think that this is too overpowered really, because there are a few ways to counter this card, so I don't think this is the biggest worry that we're going to have in this set. A card that is absolutely amazing is Ilarak, the Lastric Harbinger, and this card finally gives us a viable Chosen One mechanic. This says that at the start of the game, this becomes the Chosen One, and as soon as you play this creature for 5 mana, if this has 10 or more health, set your opponent's max health to 10. That's going to be a very interesting mechanic. People in the community have been saying that this is going to be absolutely overpowered and it is going to get nerfed as soon as the card actually sees play. Other people are claiming that this is very difficult to pull off with the cards that we have around the Chosen One mechanic so far. So this one is going to come down on if we're actually getting more Chosen One cards in this expansion. I am definitely going to be trying this one out because it looks absolutely interesting and fun, and we would love to have even more archetypes that work in the meta. So this is a big thumbs up for me. Now let's move to the war domain, because this is probably my favorite card in this set. Signy, the Fallen Sister. First of all, the artwork looks amazing, right? Kudos to the artist, this is glorious. For 7 mana, this creature says, your opponent summons the random highest mana cost creature from their hand. Then this attacks it. And also this has Dread Touched, so we can sacrifice a creature on the board when we play it, to make sure that this gains protected first. The first thing that comes to my mind is that this card is going to be absolutely spectacular for sealed, but also in competitive play, in normal ranked games. Guys, do you realize how much of a combo breaker this card is? This is going to immediately counter Arandion. Arandion decks no longer have a win condition. This is going to counter cards like Theriel. This is absolutely amazing. I think it is going to be one of the most valuable cards, especially in the meta that we have right now. I am really looking forward to it as well. And then the other legendary ward card that we have also looks amazing. Costs 5 mana, 3 strength and 6 health. After you cast a spell, gain protected and attack a random enemy character. Honestly, while with a first glance this might not seem so overpowered, actually the war domain has a lot of cheap spells. So this card can be amazing to help you reclaim the board versus aggro decks, right? We could be playing board clears like Savage Strike for 1 mana to absolutely devastate the board, or even if we are able to buff this creature up, we could be pulling one-hit KOs if this manages to survive on the board. So this is another card that I'm really looking forward to. I want to highlight that both of those cards are actually ethers, so we might actually be seeing even more of this tribe. Now let's move to the death domain, and this is one of the cards that I'm really so excited for, because guys, you might have seen my video about the undead dragons, and this card is going to actually help facilitate this combo even more. This says, summon a dragon from your void with mana cost 4 or less, but if you actually Dread Touch this card, you can summon any dragon from your void. I am immediately thinking the Lockhart combo, that is going to be so nice with this card. The stats are pretty decent for the 6 mana. This could be going into Anubian aggro decks, this could be going in more combo decks like the Lockhart one. So far I love the approach with everything that I've seen from the Gods Unchained team. The other death legendary card that we have is Valogin, the Dread Troller, and honestly we don't know too much about him, other than whenever this creature does something, basically roar Dread Touch, Afterlife, and after this creature attacks, shuffle 2 Dread into your opponent's deck. but we have no idea what this is yet. The stats are pretty normal, but I kind of like the approach as well. The Death Domain is going to get some type of a bomb card to put into your opponent's deck. That's going to be so huge. And now it is finally time to talk about Deception, because with first glance, this might not look like the best card of the legendary ones that we got, but guys, this is definitely something that is going to be seeing play, in my opinion. 6 mana, 5 health and strength. As soon as you play it, you obliterate a creature from your opponent's void, and this card has the unique ability, after a creature leaves your opponent's void, summon a base copy of it and give it bleeds. So as soon as you play it, you summon 2 creatures for 6 mana. That's pretty strong on its own, but do you guys realize how many cards we can combo with this one? The Deception Domain already has a couple of cards that can work really well by manipulating our opponent's void, like the Scavenger Impling. So if you manage to put that card on the board, the Scavenger Impling is going to actually activate our legendary card's ability, and we're going to be summoning up to 2 creatures for 4 mana. This is going to be a crazy deck. Then we have another legendary card, Gamma, Lord of Berries, which works basically in the same way, and maybe we might even see Tendrils of Dread seeing play now, because this card also interacts with our opponent's void. So basically guys, we are going to be seeing a lot of Nether Deception decks. I am going to make that prediction that this is actually going to see a lot of play, and I am so happy about it, because again, we're looking at a new archetype. The other legendary Deception card is Lysel, the Lucid Night Master, and this card also has a very strong ability: gain control of the weakest enemy creature until the end of your turn, or gain control of the strongest creature if you manage to dread touch it. In my opinion, getting control of your opponent's creatures in Gods Unchained is one of the strongest mechanics that we have, and getting control of the strongest enemy creature in the Deception Domain used to cost 8 mana. Now we can do that on the 5 mana curve, which is going to be so insanely strong in my opinion. This is probably one of the cards, I am going to make an assumption and say that this is probably one of the cards that people are going to rage the most about, and rightfully so in my opinion, because this can be a win condition for 5 mana. It doesn't need a lot of setup, you just need to have a creature on the board, which you can summon pretty easily, basically. So yeah, keep an eye out for these 2 legendary Deception decks. And let's move on to Nature. Actually, this is one of the weirdest ones that we have seen so far. While this is in your void, after a friendly creature is destroyed, summon this and deal 3 damage to your god. So how exactly is this going to work? I have seen a few cards that make it look like that we could be having a lot more Zoo Nature archetypes now, so this is probably going to be a card that is going to synergize well with the cards that we don't know much about yet. Not the strongest one so far, but maybe this will be able to pull some really interesting combos off. Especially dealing damage to our god, I don't think the Nature Domain has a lot of cards like that, so I'm really curious to see how this one is going to play out. But the other one, Automaban on steroids basically, this is a Bleach Twin Strike creature with very low stats, but it has Dread Touch, gain the sacrificed creature's strength and health. Then shuffle a copy of this into your deck. So with a first look, this can work both in aggro decks, because you could be having a lot of creatures on the board, buffing them up, and then playing this to clear the board very easily. Or, if you keep playing this card over and over in the duration of a game, we could be seeing the stats of this being insanely big, so we might actually be having more control nature variations, and I am so happy about that. Now let's move to the Magic Domain, and honestly guys, this one, the Dread Replicator, is the card that I am most afraid from this set so far, because this one is an Atlantean, and check this out. At the end of your turn, if the top card of your deck is an Atlantean, summon a copy of it. Dread Touch, choose any Atlantean in your deck and put it on the top of your deck. So basically, if you sacrifice a creature, you can summon any Atlantean that you want from your deck. The Mage Atlanteans are now meta anyway. We have a couple of different win conditions with Tinker and the Avalanche Watchers, with Francesca and Project Rise, and now this might be a third win condition for this deck. This card can interact with Echophon to basically summon a 9 mana creature for 6 mana, pretty easily, or any of those. I think this is a little overpowered with first look. I am afraid of how the Atlantean decks are going to play out. But this is the fun part. The more decks that come into play, the more counters that we will have to figure out, right? In order to beat them. And this is so exciting. This is what I love about having a new set. The other Magic legendary card is Otanda, the Enlightened, which says that the first time you play a mystery on your turn, uncover Eldritch Mysteries. And honestly, so far, as I said already, we don't know too much about that. The stats of this card are decent. These are probably going to be kind of a combo archetype at the end of the day. So we're going to be leveling up maybe those spells. Who knows? We can only assume so far. And then probably the most interesting card of this set, because this is going to give us a whole new set of god powers, is Irina. At the start of the game, put this in your mulligan, your starting hand essentially. If your deck contains no other neutral cards, replace your god power with your domain's ascended god power. That's a whole new keyword. What are ascended god powers? Maybe an ascended heal god power is going to heal for 4 instead of 2. Something like that, something along those lines probably. And I am already worried for a very specific interaction. Let me show you what I mean. You guys know that the heal light decks are already a menace in Mythic. This says, at the start of the game, if your deck contains only light cards, put this in your starting hand and set its mana cost to 0. So basically, how is this interaction going to go? Is Irina going to be in our starting hand before Blade of the Creator? Is that interaction going to work? Because that is going to be very, very troublesome if that happens. We'll know more in the future, but still, I like this because this is going to push a specific domain archetype. If the Ascended God powers are good enough, that's going to be really, really interesting to see. Guys, honestly, I love this new set. We have so much stuff to talk about. So we talked about the legendary cards, but there is also something that I really need to talk about. The Mythic variants. For the first time ever, I think, in Gods Unchained, we can be getting Mythic variants for 7 legendary cards inside packs. And if the community manages to get all of those, we are going to be getting promo cards. So I am really interested to see how the marketplace is going to move with these new mechanics. Really cool stuff. Honestly, I am so excited about this expansion. Guys, before we go, if this is the first time watching my channel, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe right now, because when this expansion hits on the 22nd of April, we are going to be grinding hard, theory crafting new decks, trying to find out all sorts of amazing combos with the new cards that we are going to be getting. We are going to be having 132 cards to make new stuff with, and that's going to be amazing. We are going to be doing a lot of pack opening, we are going to be doing a lot of giveaways, so don't miss out on all this stuff. Drop a like right now, subscribe, and you can also find my Discord server in the description of this video. So don't forget to join there so we can talk about all this amazing hype. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments which was your favorite card, and I'll see you all very soon with a brand new video. Cheers!